In 1963, the Cold War between the US and the USSR escalates and the threat of nuclear war emerges. Realizing that humanity could be wiped off the face of the Earth, President John Kennedy orders a secret plan to ensure the survival of humanity. A group of scientists creates the spaceship Ascension and selects 600 volunteers to travel to Proxima Centauri. The mission is to colonize the planet, but the travel time will take hundreds of years, so the generations will succeed each other. And 2 generations later, the ship is mostly inhabited by the grandchildren of the first astronauts, and the setting corresponds to the 1960s of the 20th century. In honor of the 51st anniversary of the launch, a grand party is thrown on the ship. It seems that the mission was successful, and people are used to the norms of living. However, the first impression is deceptive, as there are social inequalities. The rich and well-to-do families get good jobs and live on the upper decks, while the poor are restricted to a comfortable life. One day, a young woman named Lorelei picks up a package from the butcher and goes swimming on the artificial beach. But after a while, a girl named Krista finds her breathless body. Despite the years that have passed, the chief engineer of the spaceship left on Earth is still alive, but now his place is taken by his son Horace, who makes sure that the project remains under tight security and keeps an eye on all the news. Upon learning of the death, Harris' assistant advises him to notify the project director, Catherine Warren. But Harris fears that this could jeopardize the project and destroy his father's legacy. Meanwhile, Dr. Juliet Bryce examines the dead body and finds strange markings on the dead woman's wrists. The ship's captain, William, puts the responsibility of investigating the case on the project's executive director, Aaron Galt, who soon discovers one oddity. There are no images of the girl entering the beach. Aaron later learns that Lorelei has been dating a guy named James who works at a water treatment plant. He sets out to find him, but to no avail. That same day, forensic results show that Lorelei made love hours before her death, and a bullet is found in her body. This alarms Aaron, as there are officially no weapons aboard the ship. He immediately breaks the news to the captain. Meanwhile, Krista has to be hospitalized as she is shocked by the incident and says that someone is watching her. But even as she begins to recover, the girl claims that there is no life in space and so they must return back to Earth. She is also convinced that Lorelei died because she learned something not allowed. Soon, Aaron apprehends James. The guy admits that he saw the girl the day she died. However, she left suddenly after an argument and he was not close to her that day. James and Aaron go to the beach and start looking for clues. Suddenly they stumble upon a secret passage that Lorelei apparently used, which explains the girl's absence from the video camera footage. Aaron and Officer Duke examine the entrance they found and find the place where the girl was killed, and also find a book with maps of the water filtration system and blueprints for the navigation computer, which had recently malfunctioned. It becomes clear that this is a diversion by which unknown people intended to force the ship back to Earth. Duke and his men descend to the lower decks where Stokes the Butcher provokes a fight, but then an alarm begins to sound that a powerful radiation storm is approaching. The order comes for everyone to take shelter in their pods, but then the captain discovers that the defense shields are jammed and sends Aaron and an electrician to fix them. Thanks to their efforts, the door closes, and then the electrician confesses that he saw the butcher give Lorelei a gun before she was killed. At the same time, Dr. Juliet puts Krista to bed and leaves her seahorse necklace, claiming it will protect her. However, when the spaceship enters the radiation zone and all the people lock themselves in their pods, Krista sees a strange man in a suit enter her room. After the ship passes safely through the storm and everyone is allowed out, Aaron and Duke go to the lower deck again, find Stokes has a gun and take him into custody. The man is questioned, but he continues to claim that he was framed because he's from the lower deck and is easily made guilty. Meanwhile, Juliet is looking for her necklace, and Krista tells her that someone took it during the storm. The action shifts to the day before Lorelei's death. At that time, Krista gave Aaron the Army medal that Lorelei had been given by her boyfriend. Aaron was very puzzled at the time, as the medal belonged to Captain William. Meanwhile, the door to Stokes' prison room automatically opens. He steps out and retrieves a hidden pistol in his quarters. After the funeral is over, Aaron addresses the captain. William admits that he was close to the girl, but he didn't kill her. It is then that Stokes shows up, having taken a random girl hostage. He demands a fair trial. Aaron lunges at Stokes, freeing the girl. The captain quickly takes her to a safe place while Stokes and Aaron continue to fight. Eventually, Stokes is thrown into space, but instead of dying instantly, he sinks to an air mattress where a group of men apprehend him. It becomes clear that the whole project is simply a simulation of testing the viability of generations of humans in spaceflight. But the people on the ship believe they have been sent on an important mission. The director of the project somehow learns of the latest developments. Furious, she storms into the mission control center and warns Harris not to hide anything. Harris claims that Stokes is the killer, but the director is not convinced, and she sends a consultant named Samantha Kruger to keep an eye on the project. At the same time, an unknown man plants a bomb in a cobalt generator on the ship, which explodes. Time later, Harris and Kruger rush inside the room hiding the spaceship. Fortunately, there are no casualties reported, and the injured are taken to the medical center. Meanwhile, Captain William inspects the site of the explosion and discovers graffiti on the wall confirming that it was a preternatural act. But fearing accusations of incompetence, he conceals the true cause. Kruger demands access to the ship's security footage. Aaron goes to the lower decks to confront the man in charge of the generators. But the man panics and attacks the director. After coming to his senses, Aaron continues to investigate and learns that the explosion that killed his parents 20 years ago was similar to the last one. He hypothesizes that the mechanic was connected to the murder of Lorelei because Stokes did not know how to use a gun and therefore could not kill the girl. At this time, Harris and his assistant learn that the other side of the deck is no longer airtight, and the crew inside can hear sounds coming from outside. This creates a risk of exposure. Aaron finds the mechanic and a fight ensues, during which the latter somehow manages to break free and start the bomb timer. An alarmed Harris orders everyone to leave the place immediately, but Aaron manages to defuse the bomb and the mechanic is killed. Kruger blames Harris for this, but he is dissuaded. The purpose of the project is to find out people's ability. However, later Harris gives Dr. Juliet's necklace to his wife, and it becomes clear that he was the one who broke into Krista's room and stole the necklace. At the same time, Kruger begins to conduct his own investigation and learns that several scientists involved in the project were found dead or missing in the 60s. Meanwhile, everyone on the ship is getting ready for their regular inoculations. But Krista refuses the shot, as she is sure that she is going to be killed. The librarian volunteers to do the injection instead of her, but when she receives the medicine, she faints. Kruger demands an explanation, but Harris insists that it's just a routine immunization shot, and that he's worried about the girl who didn't get the shot. He orders the drugs to be added to the milk, but Krista figures out his scheme and pours out the drink. Meanwhile, Kruger meets Eve, the author of a website that tracks the fate of scientists in the 60s. Eva claims that the government used the project as a cover for kidnapping children to participate. Later, an unknown man stalks Krista and tries to forcibly inoculate her. But he injures himself and stains his blood on the dress of the girl, who manages to escape. Aaron takes her to Dr. Juliet and convinces her to get the vaccination after all. While getting ready, Krista tells Dr. Robert Bryce about the visions she's been having lately. These include a fall from the Twin Towers, a war in the desert, and tragedies in the ocean. She also claims to have seen Dr. Bryce in the repair tunnel where Lorelei was killed. The doctor becomes enraged, gags her, and inoculates her. Harris and his assistant who saw this are stunned that Krista described events that actually happened on Earth. Dr. Bryce finds a match in a blood sample from Krista's dress with his wife's apprentice, but the boy is found dead in his quarters. Meanwhile, Kruger deduces that Harris has an accomplice inside the ship who is causing riots and radiation storms. And on the ship comes the day of the lottery, which will allow the winning couple to have a child. After all, numbers must be strictly enforced, and a new person can only be born after someone has died. And here 3 people have passed away at once. Soon the names are announced, and among the winners are Officer Duke and his wife. Meanwhile, Krista notices a woman outside her quarters and follows her, but suddenly she realizes it's Lorelei's ghost. Just then, someone starts playing a video of her having sex with Captain William. Krista begins to scream uncontrollably. Harris watches this and notices that the girl has begun to react even before the tape was shown, as if she has the ability to see the future. He is amazed. His father had predicted the phenomenon 3 generations later, and called it morphic resonance. During this time, Kruger steals the keys to Stokes' cell, and later submits a report harshly criticizing Harris. And this prompts Director Warren to arrive on the project. While Kruger sneaks into Stokes' cell, but he attacks her and takes her hostage and leads her outside. This is when he learns the truth about the project. This stuns Stokes, and he begins to have a mental breakdown. However, Kruger convinces him that they must escape before they are spotted and killed. She is willing to help him because the whole project is wrong. When they go outside, Stokes is crying, but Kruger urges him to pull himself together. The security guard approaches them and they team up to neutralize him. In the process, Kruger is injured. Stokes goes to a nearby store and picks up some medical supplies. Afterward, the two of them drive to a motel. Warren and Harris learn about the escape and call security from the firm that funded the project. The executives are unhappy with the director's performance and accuse Harris of covering up the facts. Harris panics and begs Warren to give him a second chance. Aboard the ship, Duke learns that Aaron has launched an investigation into his wife, suspecting her of killing Lorelei. He loses his temper and goes to find out. At the same time, Krista has another vision. She anticipates a violent fight between Duke and Aaron and runs to the beach. Worried, she inadvertently uses telekinesis, but loses control of her power and shuts down all power on the ship. The director blames Harris for the incident and orders his minions to get rid of him. A terrified Harris tells him about the morphic resonance. It turns out that Warren has been waiting for this result for a long time. They rush to the control center and learn that the ship's entire system has shut down due to the power surge, but the artificial stars are still burning. It was Harris's father who built the star lights into the ship's nuclear reactor to guarantee the eternity of the illusion. Harris suggests using the nuclear reactor to get the system back up and running. Meanwhile, James receives a faint television signal and reports it to Dr. Bryce. However, the latter sends him away, after which he turns off the screen. It becomes clear that he is Harris' accomplice. Meanwhile, Kruger meets with Eva and explains everything to her. She intends to flee abroad and seek asylum there before exposing the project's deceitfulness. Eva tries to talk her out of it, and then Kruger realizes that the journalist also works for the company that is funding the project. Eva confesses everything and shoots Kruger, but Stokes manages to escape. Meanwhile, the oxygen on the ship begins to run out. Captain William and Aaron head to the lower decks to turn on the carbon dioxide purification devices, and declares a radiation storm for the rest of the ship to conserve oxygen. Harris concludes that the chances of getting the ship back in working order are extremely low, so Warren decides to get Krista out before she suffocates to death. Meanwhile, William and Aaron realize that the recycling devices are beyond repair, so they decide to purify the air manually. Krista realizes that someone is coming to get her. Dr. Bryce confirms this, and when Krista accuses a man of killing Lorelei, he confesses to it. The woman found out about the fake mission, and he couldn't let it be exposed. Aaron and William successfully spread lithium oxygen throughout the ship using large fans and restore oxygen levels. Just then, a Warren messenger arrives and Dr. Bryce tries to stop him, but the bulky man easily moves him out of the way and grabs Krista. Aaron sees the ghost of Lorelei who leads him to Krista. It turns out he has developed superpowers as well. Aaron attacks the bandit. Krista uses his power again, which causes his opponents to dissolve into thin air. Seeing all this, Warren panics and tries to contact the messenger by radio. She gets closer to the ship, and taking this opportunity, Harris pushes her down and kills her. The series ends with Aaron being teleported to an unknown planet. Write in the comments what you think of it.